it doesn't want to recognize this speaker. So fuck that speaker. You can fuck off that speaker. I'm just gonna tell things to fuck off. Do you want to hear my little meditation for the day?
Sure.
Okay. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Feel the self-love penetrate into your fucking heart. Like a true, abundant badass. Fucker McFuckerson, level 9000. Exhale, release every single annoying, dumb fucker in the entire universe because fuck them. They're fuckers. That's from Yogi Brian. He's one of my faves right now. It's in
That is a
contrast.
meditation I can get behind.
The Hollow Buddy. And we all feel hollow sometimes.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast. I'm Kristen Zeman, and I am here with my sassy and salacious co-host, Sylvia Moyer. We are both former police chiefs, but the Hollow Bunny Podcast is not just for cops. This podcast is for anyone interested in talking about life and leadership and nonsense, really, and the lessons that we have learned along the way. And these lessons fill up the Hollow Bunny metaphorically. Sylvia, how you doing?
I feel sassy and salacious and a little crazy today. It's a big day.
It's a big day. It is.
Fantastic. Tell me how you're doing in the burr of Naples, Florida. It went below 70.
For those who are viewing us, I'm in a coat, an overcoat, as it were, because it's 64 degrees here in Naples, Florida. And listen, guys, don't worry about me. I'm going to be okay. But I'm a little chilly.
Well, it kind of equates to having no body fat. I really think the whole clean eating, not as much alcohol, super CrossFitty, there's a blessing and a curse. Let's just admit it.
I don't know about that. I started off the year a little slow, so I'm actually getting right back on track. I did great in 2024, but yeah, today we're talking about goals. So you're setting us up. You're setting us up. But no, I'm good. I'm a little chilly. Life is good. I got my newspaper here because as one of my 2025 goals, I swore off cable news, and I am so much better for it. I am one of those people that I like to flip channels, and I go to CNN, and then I swing right over to Fox News, see what they're saying, pop over to MSNBC. And what I realize is, like, there's the news, and then there's pundits that just opine about the news. And I just started to and of course, no matter what channel you're on, is usually indicative to the alignment that you are politically. And I just got so sick and tired and exhausted of sifting through all of the bullshit and opinions that I decided in 2025, I'm going to subscribe to a real newspaper like my dad used to do. And so I just drink my coffee and nobody is talking to me in their voices. And I just read the news and then I make decisions and deductions for myself. How about that?
Oh, well, I think it's fantastic. I do have I have 9 questions, I think, at the beginning.
Okay.
So, first of all, you have the New York Times. There are others. So you selected the New York Times. I want to know 2 things about that. Why the New York Times? Why not like the Washington Post that says democracy dies in darkness, right? Why the New York Times? And then what do you do, Kristen Zeman, when you're traveling? Because I get the New York Times on my device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk to us about that. And then what do you hope? So there's 3 right there. Why the New York Times? What do you do when you're traveling? And then what do you hope to get out of that?
So funny. It's really funny that you asked me how I settled on the New York Times, because that would seem just like an easy, just subscribe. I can't even tell you the rabbit hole I went down because I am looking for balanced information. I don't want anything partisan. I want the news to report what happened, and I don't want any spin on it. Here's the problem that we have, though, is that these biases come in, and all you need to do is follow who owns these papers. And right there should make an opinion. So here's what I did. So we are in January, or yeah, we are at the end of January. For the first 3 weeks, I subscribed to the Wall Street Journal. And now the second 3 weeks, I canceled that and I have subscribed to the New York Times. The next thing I'm going to do is subscribe to WAPO, and I am going to deduct. I'm on a data collecting mission here to determine which newspaper is slanted. Right now, I will say between the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, I prefer the New York Times, but it's for different reasons. It's because it has food. It's got like recipes in the cool food section. But you know what? Our producer Ted has just popped on here, which means he has something important to say. And who better to weigh in on this than a man who has worked in journalism?
Well, first of all, I love what you're doing. I think that's really, it shows a level of commitment to trying to find the right, unbiased news source that you can. But my question is, you got us onto Tangled. Is it Tangle or Tangled?
Yes.
But you got us
Tangle.
onto that, and I had that daily newsletter for a while. And are you still on that?
Yes, religiously. If you asked me if I should get rid of the newspaper or if I should read Tangle, I read Tangle. Tangle is the one that says, here's what the left is saying, here's what the right is saying. And they bring in all of the voices, and then you get to determine it at the end. He does a my take, which I think is actually pretty objective. So that is religiously what I read every day. And then the second part of the question, when I travel still, they do have it on digital form too, because we are in the 21st century. So but I love getting it in the morning before I get on the plane, and I take it on the plane. And you know what my favorite thing to do is, and you will appreciate this because you love to talk to people on planes. I read my paper on the plane, and then when I'm done with it, I say, would anyone like this paper? And right. I've just been making friends that way.
Okay, because somebody says, gosh, I haven't read the paper in a long time. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. I love the approach because then you're taking the 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay, cool. So we have a couple more episodes before we find out exactly what you found. Can't wait. Tangle's interesting because that is all electronic. So you still have a connection to the electronic New York Times. That's what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not swearing off digital media. I just am swearing off cable news because of pundits, talking heads. Stop it.
Now, what do you say to those that say, okay, Kristen Seaman, super cool little thing that you're doing, but how do you know? What intellectual kind of churning do you do to determine that something is accurately reported?
So, well, that's we have to trust. This is where I am one of the people who trusts in the traditional journalism and vetting of sources. I trust that the New York Times is not going to put the headline, on the front page of the paper and write a story without vetting sources. So I'm not going to go through and try to, look at every, is this true or is it not? No, I trust. What it does is it tells me, what the headline is, what the story is, but there's not a lot of opinion. In fact, there isn't opinion. It's just, here are the facts and, or here's what someone said. And so then I can formulate my own opinion. So yeah, I'm not delving that deep into try to fact check sources and papers. I'm going to take it at face value.
Okay, I love it. So yeah, like Ted, you got us all into Tangle, and Tangle's been extraordinary. And I consume the New York Times and the Washington Post. I just think they seem to have a really rich body of work, and there's one journalist that works for the Washington Post by the last name of Jackson that was super interesting in how he covers policing. So I kind of feel like the Washington Post made a stand on the assault on journalists and some of the degradation of the honesty of some journalists, like you talked about, and I feel like I have a responsibility to support them. I don't know. So
I love that.
The consumption's interesting. I love how you connect with people by offering them your scraps. So shit that you're already done with, then you offer it to people, and instead of having to throw it away yourself, you make it either a connective piece or they're actually taking your trash. You wash your hands of it, and you're like, it's probably now what the fuck happened.
It's not
Well,
my problem anymore. You take care of it. You would be surprised how many people. Oh gosh, this was really funny. I took it to get a pedicure the other day, and I was sitting in my pedicure chair. And by the way, there were 3 men in the chairs next to me. 3 men and 1 woman. And I am shout out to you men out there who care about your toes. I don't think you realize how many people in your life appreciate you not having gnarly, snaggly toes and the masculinity you talk about. The topic of the day is masculinity. And I was like, that is the epitome of masculinity when you can sit there and get a pedicure. But anyway, I finished my newspaper and I looked over at the gentleman. I said, would anyone like my New York Times? And all 3 of them raised their hand. I was like, oh, boys, you're going to have to fight over it. But how about that?
Well, how about that? I mean, you're used to them fighting over you, and now they're fighting over a paper.
Back off, men. Back off, men.
Simmer down, one at a time.
There's
sir.
1 of me and 3 of you. You men with great toenails.
I love all of that, and really it came out of you doing some examination of self and what you want to commit to in 2025. I love all of that, and
Mental
you're
health.
injecting your brain, right? So I love all of that. So that's in the kind of the intellectual domain for goals. And we've all heard about break down your goals using SMART. The SMART goals are achievable and measurable. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. We've heard about that. I'm thinking your process was a little different. Did you break yours down into domains like physical, intellectual, spiritual, psychological, professional? Did you do it like that, or what was your approach?
No, my approach was what seems to be working for me is I just make 2 categories, personal and professional. And then within those categories are subcategories. What do I need to keep doing? What do I need to start doing? And what do I need to stop doing? And for some reason, that frames it for me. And I don't put any time frames on them. And, I don't even call them goals. They're just intentions, and honestly, I check in with myself. It's not just a beginning of the year thing, but usually it's every month, the beginning of every month, I sit down and go, okay, how'd this month go? What do you need to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing? So I don't do it as, I guess, scientific. And I imagine you do, because you have a pencil and a brand new legal pad there that is just, it's ripe and juicy.
This is my 2025
Yeah.
brand new, never touched, the virgin pad for the podcast. Yeah, I bought this little delicious treat. It's got the extra strong back.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is going to be it. I don't do it that scientifically either. I think
Okay.
we have learned to define the goal and to use SMART, and then to identify actionable steps, to identify obstacles that could help us achieve them. I kind of went like you into a space where I'm like, what do I want to strengthen? What do I want to diminish? Keep doing, stop doing. And what's so funny is since I was a young sergeant, I received this list. I was raised by a Marine. My dad was in the United States Marine Corps. He was also a Mr. Mensa Cal grad engineer, smarty farty dude. Real interesting fella, that dad of mine. And so I've long been fascinated with the United States Marine Corps and the amazing leadership traits and principles that they offer. So, I mean, any kind of branch of the military that was started in a tavern, November 10th, 1775, tavern, it was started over here. I think it's pretty rad. So, to this point, the Marine Corps has these traits and principles, and they remember it under the acronym JJ Did Tie Buckle. I'm not going to go through all of them: justice, judgment, decisiveness, integrity. Anyway, it goes on. What I have done since I was a young sergeant is I pull that list out every quarter or so, not on a very specific time frame, but I examine the trait. So, for instance, tact. Tact, and then there's a description of what tact looks like in terms of behavior. Then what it does is it describes if you need to strengthen it, what do you do? So I look at that list and I do some reflection. in my quiet space. And I go, you know what? I need to show up and strengthen my tact. I've been perhaps impatient, I've been reactive instead of responsive. And then what I do is I take that and I make it top of mind in terms of a goal and how I show up. So, tact, for instance, I would also strengthen my tact, my meditation, my physical workouts, and those things that makes me more present as a leader. So I think what we're describing is a number of things that might just help someone churn on how do they want to show up differently, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
kind of the overarching goal uh, for setting goals?
Yeah, well, I think for really introspective people, yeah. I mean, when you talk about that and the things that you want to sharpen and improve personally, but I don't know that people delve into it as much. I think that a lot of people think of goals as something tangible, as that I want to stop drinking so much, I want to lose weight, I really want to go to the gym, as evidenced by gym memberships that just completely get overwhelmed in January. And then, as we know, the second Friday in January is Quitters Day, where people have already given up on their goals.
They call that for
You
real.
It is. It's called Quitters Day. It's an actual thing.
Okay.
And so people really do focus on, these tangible things. And I love that about you, because you focus truly on betterment of, your character and, how you show up in the world and to others. And I don't think people give it that much introspection, to be honest.
Real, I don't know. I think it depends. Some of it is kind of this timing, right? So at work, we're doing with a certain group of folks. We hired a facilitator to do the Clifton Strengths Finder.
Yeah.
And wow, I think we talked about that on one of our podcasts before. And we should really explore that because it certainly did provide something for me where I recognize what are my top kind of strengths and then what are the benefits of that, but what are the blind spots.
Mm.
You and Ted and I were talking about this yesterday via a text stream, which is a lovely thing to be on a text stream with Ted Madden and Kristen Zeman. Wow, it's mind altering, fantastic,
Life
and a
goals,
lot
friends.
of tomfoolery, some little frivolity, and some fun. But we get some business and some shit done too. So in this, we were talking about this amazing thing that you have. And we explored this over our time in Sedona together. You and I don't get embarrassed. We were playing this game about asking questions. What's something that really embarrassed you? And Chris and I were like, yeah, well, dumb shit. So we don't get embarrassed. Something happens, we go, yeah, that was me. I'm a fucking idiot. So we just don't get embarrassed. That also, I think, comes out of and really demonstrates this thing that Ted was applauding you for yesterday. You want people to throw spears. You take feedback better than anybody I know. It's like ouchie, but then you go, okay, ouch. I'm acknowledging the ouch. Now I want to get fucking better. So how do you cultivate that? Isn't that what goals overarching are designed to do, Kristen? Help
Yeah,
us.
to make us 1% better is at least the way that I define it. And the reason that I say 1% better is because I think people set too lofty of goals, if I'm honest, is that if you have not done this thing, the entire year, and then you set out on a goal to run a 5K, you have to remember that that's a couch to 5K, right? And that if you're not going to go out there and you are not going to run that 5K, so every storm must begin with with a single drop of rain. And so every worthwhile movement matters. If you can't run yet, then you have to walk to the end of your driveway. But I think people take on this loftiness, and then they get frustrated that they can't run a mile yet because they haven't done the baby steps. And so for me, what I look at it is just 1% better. The only way that you can get better is if you have the introspection that we've just mentioned that you have, where you can call yourself on your own bullshit, right? And that is a gift of that when I see people that have introspection to say, gosh, I'm not good at this. I want to be better at this, or here's where I'm falling short and not showing up the way I want to in life. That's you're operating on a higher plane. For the rest of us, I have to rely on people to say, you know what, you could be better. And so I think there's a couple things here, and just to round this thought out is that I alone can't always see my blind spots.
Sure.
And so I ask for feedback, and tell me what you think about the blog that I'm writing, because this blog is important to me, because it's going into a book, a bigger project. And the other little podcast that I run is just me, and I got really harsh feedback about it, and I course corrected. And I think it does go back to us sitting at the table. People were kind of mind blown that we don't get embarrassed, but I'm like, man, no, I suck at this. I fell on my face. I did the thing, and I laughed at myself louder than anyone else. But I don't know how you can get better if you don't either challenge yourself or ask others to challenge you. What do you think, Ted?
Well, when you say 1% better every day, you both know that I am a harsh realist. And this is something that, covering sports all those years, Tony Romo is the one that comes to mind. You want to get a little bit better every day. Realistically, though, you don't. You get a little better, and then some days you get a little worse. And I think the important part of that is to just know that you are making the effort, even if it's not every single day, but you're making the continued effort to get better, because it's actually going to look more like a stock market, right? You're going to be getting better, but there's going to be ups and downs along the way. And also about feedback, you said, I think a lot of people ask for feedback. Very few of them actually want honest feedback. When my daughter
True.
comes up, Marilyn says, "Do you like this drawing?" She doesn't want me to tell her it sucks. I'll try to be nice. I say it's very good, and I like when you use a lot of colors. Try to use some more colors, but she doesn't want honest feedback. She wants to be congratulated on such a nice drawing.
He's not asking the right question, Ted. So you're like, Marilyn, perhaps you work on your questioning. Dad, what is the strength of this drawing? Because, come on. She wants you to say it. You hit on something so important. They ask wanting affirmation instead of actually insight into how you view that. What a great point, Ted. And I got to say, the fact that you brought up Tony Romo, my sister's boyfriend, she loves him. Yeah, it is like a stock market. Human performance is like the ups and downs, right?
Yeah. And not only that, but gosh, he just opened the door to something else. And, we'll get it right back on track here on goals. But think about how many leaders and organizations, say, I'll take all of your feedback. I have an open door policy. And what happens the first time a junior leader walks in and says, I really have a problem with this decision or this policy, or I have a suggestion, and how that leader responds to them in that moment will dictate whether they come back to them or not with feedback. How if you get defensive, or if you accept it and say, okay, let me think about this. We've talked about this in the past, but that is so important, is that, do we really want feedback? Well, back to the goal setting, I do. And what I fear is that people don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And so it really took some people to say, hey, listen, I don't like your podcast because, I like your writing better. It's kind of boring. And I went, okay. And they're not criticizing me. They're just criticizing this process. And I think that's a gift. And so you have to be able to accept it. Now, we've talked about before that there are going to be sometimes where you don't take the feedback. You say, thank you. And here is why I will take that and I will release it, right? And I don't take feedback from people unless I've asked it for it, or they're in the arena with me. If they're sitting on the sidelines, doing nothing of value themselves, well, they can fuck all the way off.
Fuck all the way on. Chief Christy Calder would reinforce this in the arena thing with us, and the Teddy Roosevelt quote after we had a conversation about some feedback. I guess here's the thing. There's a danger. The danger is you invite it for some and all think they can dip the toe. And if you're not in the arena, yeah, right, fuck off. Second thing is, one of the dangers in asking for feedback in this incredible way that you do it is that folks only look for the things that they can critique. That is a problem. And there's this real danger in someone in the business space someone saying, "Oh, I'm the devil's advocate." Well, taking this devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Well, we should assign someone as the devil's advocate so that people don't think they can always be the contrarian. I also don't
Yeah.
want to think that, gosh, just because I say, "Hey, what do you really think?" that they can just look for those items, or they throw the spears at you, Kristen, or throw the spears at the asker, the requester, the one that gives the permission, and then they don't see the value in the other parts of whatever they're critiquing. I think that's fucked up.
Yeah. This requires more research then, because this is such a complex topic about giving feedback. But let's go back to something Ted said, because I love this, the 1% better, when he said it's going to look more like the stock market. I think the lesson here, as we look at the goals or intentions that we have set for ourselves, is that failure is inevitable. You will miss the workout, you will have a cheat meal, you will procrastinate on your goals, but it's these setbacks. That's where people give up. That's when they say, screw it, it's too hard. But those setbacks don't define you. How you respond to them does. And I think the
Oh,
difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of failure, but the refusal to quit after failing. So I prefer to think of failure as a data point rather than a verdict.
right. I, underscore, wait, say that again. You see failure as,
A data point. Yeah, why? Because why? Because what caused you to skip the gym that day? Were you too tired? Did you lack time? Understanding the why behind the setback helps you adjust and plan better for the future. So every failure is a chance to learn, to pivot, and to try again. So it's a data point rather than a verdict. You're not a failure. You just have to go, why did I do this? Why did I fall short?
that's fucking cool, because I always answer that with, oh, because my give a shitter wasn't turned on. My give a shitter's on top. I don't give a shit.
That's a reason too. Yeah. And you know what? In the words of my friend Sylvia, it's cool to care, you know?
Okay.
When our give a shitter goes out, honestly, that is when we have to start paying attention, because apathy is a disease that we have to fight. And I love it when you say it's cool to care, man, because how many people are like, you know what? And I say it all the time in jest, I'm out of fucks. I don't care, but the truth is we have to care. What's the alternative?
Yep. Yeah. Well, and so, okay. So one of yours, and we've talked about goals and goal setting. We've talked about SMART. We've talked about accountability. I'm going to send you my goals. I promise. My accountability partner, get an accountability partner, someone that will hold you accountable. Like, hey, I'm checking in on how you are in this 3-week stint of reading a newspaper instead of cable news. I think we'll share those. So those are all really important things. I want to share with you something that I kind of stumbled on. I've been long fascinated by bison. Like, remember the movie Dances with Wolves? He's like, Tatanka, Tatanka, like like the
I'm
buffalo.
really excited to see where this is going.
Okay. So I've long been interested with about in bison, because they're one of the animals, the only animal that turns into a snowstorm. And I heard this story about how bison turn into a snowstorm. They and what they do is they turn in, they face the snowstorm because they recognize in facing it and moving through it, they're going to move through it faster. And I saw something on LinkedIn by somebody recently who said bison are the only animal that turn into a snowstorm rather than away from it, because they instinctively know that walking into the storm will get them out of the weather quicker. And there may be a life lesson for humans in this. And it's just amazing, right? So it kind of reaffirmed at this time where I've been thinking about this for 20 years, fascinated with bison. What I respect so much about them, one of the things, they turn into a storm. Who does that? And so
Right.
this is an interesting lesson for 2025. And part of it is my kind of commitment to strengthen, turn into difficulty, face the courageous conversation, and be in it, because not only because I have the standing and the bearing to do it, but I am comfortable with facing what is difficult and what is a storm.
Ooh, That is, I mean, what a metaphor. I have not heard that about bison. So consider me educated by you today.
You need to get the New York Times for that little nugget.
Wow. I'm gonna throw away my paper and I'm gonna subscribe to you. Um, I love it. And I love it because it gives a little visual, but the truth is whatever it takes, right? Like that is the comfort crisis. That is leaning into the things that are hard. That is not avoiding because they don't go away. That
Oh,
conversation that you keep failing to have with that person, the strife and the negative energy that is beneath it is not going anywhere. In fact, it's festering. And
yep.
when you lean into the difficult thing, you're right. It makes the storm pass. It's like almost the metaphor. I've lived through two hurricanes now, where when you're in the eye of the hurricane, it's a lot calmer, but you gotta, to like move through it, and then you get to calm. You have to get through the rough parts, the heavy winds, and then you get to the calm. And there's something there about facing
Yep.
adversity head on. The faster the relief will come.
Kristen, how many times have we challenged an employee that is performing below standards
Yeah.
and we hold them accountable? We talk about their performance, we have the difficult conversation, perhaps put them on a performance improvement plan, and something happens, and then out of the woodwork, everybody comes out and says, "That fucking guy, he was terrible forever and nobody handled
Yeah.
it till you handled it." That is one of my commitments for 2025, doing the difficult, facing the storm, exemplifying it, demonstrating it for others to say it's not that bad. And
Yeah.
we have absolute responsibility to do what's tough.
Yeah, a technique that I have been trying to do in being a meditation flunky, and not going through guided meditations is just that, is to really focus in stillness and silence on the hard thing that I have to do. And all I do is I visualize that hard conversation. I go through what I'm going to say. I kind of think about what they might say in response, or I visualize the hard action that I have to commit to, and I think about doing it. And so that has helped me as I visualize it. It actually, that creates movement and momentum from that stillness, seeing it and knowing I have to do it helps me lean into it. So that's something, that's a place where I've leaned into the stillness portion.
Awesome. So, I turned you on to Yogi Brian, who uses the F word a lot in his meditations. And I talked about uh, where he's, does breathing and he releases fucks and he releases dumb fuckers in the entire universe because fuck them, because they're dumb McFucker McFucksticks, right? And so that resonates for people. So there's a real opportunity for you to perhaps reframe how you talk about yourself as a mindfulness meditation junkie, because I think you're
Yeah.
really on something.
Maybe I'm secretly killing it. Yeah. So let me ask you a question about goals. And you mentioned an accountability partner.
Oh boy.
Um, what do you say? Because I read a quote the other day, and this is going to be my blog post that drops next Monday. It really hooked me. It's a quote by Frederick Douglass, and he said, "The midnight sky and the silent stars have been the witness of your devotion." Meaning, at least the way that I take it is it's urging me to reflect on the deeper meaning. And I think that there's also a profound beauty in working quietly with no one, where you just keep
Mhm.
grinding behind the scenes, doing the thing without putting it out to the world, without asking for an accountability party. You just do the goddamn work that it takes to do, and you emerge, having, attained your goal or your transformation. What do you think about that? Because I'm really thinking about it a lot this week.
Look, there's a real strength in doing the work in the darkness, and it can be the metaphor of darkness, it can be the actual darkness, whatever it is. There's what he's offering, it sounds like, is be witness to your own and to do it in solitude and in the darkness. I advocate for that. I think there's a real strength there, Kristen, because so much of your life is out on social. It's out everywhere. And there's a real opportunity for you to do it where it's in the privacy of just you.
That's where it came from, actually, Sil. I was thinking that when I set out 43 weeks ago to write a book, and I put it out into the world, and I was thinking that that would help me. And 43 weeks later, I don't have my book done. It is one of my goals. And here I am putting it out into the world again to finish in 2025, but I didn't complete it. And, and so I wonder, does that setback, and me having to say, ooh, gosh, because people are asking, where's the book? And I'm like, it's nowhere. I'm working on it. I'm slowly plugging along, but maybe, and that's what made me think about it, is instead of having to answer to people and go, well, I haven't completed it yet, is, what if I would have just said nothing and just did the work, and then emerged with a book, right? And so it's just got me contemplating on what we put out into the world, and also those things where maybe it benefits us just to shut our freaking mouth and do the work.
Word. I think there's a real strength with so much of our lives out on social media.
Yeah.
Everything. Someone told me today that that this person they're linked with on Facebook announced the death of somebody on Facebook. I just thought, wait, what? Who does that? I don't know.
You mean like not like what? Like, what do you mean? Because I see lots of announcements as like, we're sad to tell you. Like, what do you mean? Someone who didn't have the positional authority to do that?
No, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of private shit that's out on Facebook
Okay.
that
Yeah.
is celebratory. It's not real life, or it's some kind of a thing that should just be kept with.
Okay.
I guess that's my values. So who am I?
Okay.
My values are, perhaps different.
Well, something to contemplate. And I think that the answer here is very simple, is do what's best for you. If you need that accountability and you need people in your face going, did you do the thing that you said you were going to do? If that's motivating for you, great. And for some things in my life, it is. And for others, I think that maybe we just say what we're going to do to ourselves and we just fucking do it.
Yeah, well, you bought me the cool hat with the ampersand. And could you have some that are with your accountability partner and some that are private? I just don't think there's so much in this world that's binary, this or that, yes or no, black or white. So I think we lean in and we keep some private. I have a couple private. And then there are others you share with your accountability partner, perhaps those that you want someone to check in on you about. And I would say it has to be kind of wrapped up in this permission not to feel shame if you're not achieving the way you need to achieve. Ted, what are you thinking?
I think it's both. I think it's what you said. Some things lend themselves to having an accountability partner or partners,
Yeah.
and some don't. I always go back to the cold plunging, because 5 years ago I would have never believed I would do it every day, but I did it every day, and I had nobody to be accountable to except myself, and it worked. And then, as I told you, Kristen, we turned 50 the same year. I had that countdown, trying to make myself accountable for something that I just wasn't ready to make myself accountable for. So sometimes you just got to let it happen the way it's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's like your book, Kristen. I just think that these things launch, and they hit the world when they're supposed to. There's a book I read by Joseph Campbell, or mythology, where he talked about the hero. And if we exchange hero for leader, so explaining what he said using leader instead of hero, his offering was hero. He said that the leader emerges when the environment is ready and the leader is ready at the same time. Mm-hmm. And what a sad state when the leader is ready, but the environment is not ready for that leader. Or the environment is ready, but that leader is not. There's a profound synchronicity when the environment and the leader are ready at the same time. And so I just think we need to chew on that. We have a lot of folks that try to force something in the time that the environment, or the leader is not ready. There has to be a synchronicity. So, if people are ragging on you about your book, fuck them. If they're eager because they just want a little more on their nightstand, I don't blame them.
Yeah, no, and it's not, don't misunderstand. It's not that at all. It's not ragging. It's, hey, when's, the book coming out? And so then what my response is shame because I didn't do it. I didn't finish it. And so it's nobody else's. It's not the push of anyone else. It's me going, gosh, I didn't do the thing that I set out to do. So that is not on anyone's, I'm so hard on myself. And so then I think, and the truth is, it's funny that you just give that metaphor about being ready, is that that's why I don't have, when I wrote my first book, I was, I was kind of all over the place. And this one, I wanted to be a lot more succinct and dialed in. And I am so close. That's why I write every Monday. And that's why I drop a blog every Monday, because I want to keep those thoughts churning. And I know that I'm so close to the theme that I want to write about, and it will emerge when, as soon as that thought or that idea, the light bulb emerges where, yes, this is the theme and the thread that I want to pull throughout this entire book. It just hasn't emerged yet. And so I just need to, now this is my 1% though. I'm going to keep doing the work. I haven't missed a week. I'm writing, every Monday I drop a blog and it's 1,200 words. And I know that through that constant action of doing the thing, that the thought will emerge. And so I haven't missed that. So I guess instead of feeling shame, I should feel proud of myself for continuing to do the process. This is James Clear. We fall to the level of our processes, right? And so the process is working for me. I just now need the better idea to emerge.
I have couple things to say about that. One is bravo, sister. Second is, remember Dr. Bellavita, what he said at the Naval Postgraduate School, the best thesis is a completed thesis.
That's
Right?
right.
So
He is
just
my Messiah, by the way.
right.
Shout out to Chris Bellavita, who is literally my Messiah. That man, he is a yogi. He is the smartest man I've ever met.
I am in love with his brain. His gray matter must be so sexy. She's just amazing. And then the other thing is, you have such a high sense of responsibility. You do what you say you're going to do. This high sense of responsibility, it's natural to feel some shame when you, a little twinge of it. I say, release that, sister, release that in 2025. And so, as we're talking about, goals and things, I want to offer something before you edit the shit out. And this is from little Jake Zeman. Leo Tolstoy said this: nothing is so necessary for a young man as the company of intelligent women. And
Oh,
what an amazing thing for that little Jake Zeman to have an incredibly intelligent sister, Miss Bailey, and then an incredibly intelligent mama, Miss Kristen Zeman. He's just, it's just cool. I find things like that, and I think I've got to say that to Miss Kristen. So
oh,
we've
that's cool. Yeah, I'll tell you what, with this boy, I'm calling him boy, but 24-year-old man who's killing it in the world, raised by two moms, two older sisters. He's surrounded by women. I mean, older sister Megan, older sister Bailey, and honestly, and he's got a wonderful girlfriend that I love. So yeah, I'm glad that you shouted him out, because honestly, he's a cool cat, and I attribute it to being surrounded by strong women.
right and intelligent women. He's rad. Does he get pedicures? This will make him even
I don't think he does. Actually, I'm
oh,
going to ask him. I don't think so. I'm going to send him a gift card to get a pedi.
we need
That's
to.
happening. That's happening.
We,
Well,
we,
do you have a particular goal that is just kind of random? That's like, to share. That's kind of innocuous. Something that you're doing this year that you haven't in the past. Anything crazy?
I don't have anything crazy. I
Okay.
think facing
Okay.
the storm, really being increasingly more intellectually curious, diving in and not just accepting what people say or offer, but more about that, taking the next level. I think that's so important given this year that we're in, and this political kind of cycle that we're in these 4 years. Let's ask good questions. Let's not just accept what someone offers as truth, or uh, well, we'll just say truth, but we'll dive in and find out a little bit more. And then, of course, I'm doing the basic health stuff, but I think this is going to be
Hmm.
a big year for me in terms of travel, in terms of life, and then on the daily, just strengthening how I show up for myself and others.
I love that. Well done. Well, good.
I'll send you
I
more
mean,
specifics, my
please do.
accountability part.
Yeah, do it. Do it. I would love to hold you accountable. I will be checking in quarterly. And also, you talk about committing to constant self-improvement. I don't know anyone who is more intellectually curious than you. And so the fact that you're striving to get even better at that is a testament to your constant commitment. And I appreciate
No,
that about you. You're a hustler.
you're sweet. I did get a bagpipe for
Mhm.
Christmas, and I don't know these people that can read music. I'm like, what? It's just a dot on a line. How like so
I
I'm
don't think you
diving into
have to be
that.
able to read music to bagpipe, do you?
Yeah, it's part of the whole gig.
Oh,
No,
okay. I don't know anything about anything musically, so yeah, I'm not the one to ask. But
I suck.
yeah, my big one is to say no to people, places, and things that don't that don't feed my soul. Like I don't want to be around energy vampires. I'm too old now. I don't want to do anything out of obligation. I want to do things out of love.
Got a
Yeah.
girl. Love
Mm.
all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
People who
part
make
of
me
it.
laugh, people who make me learn. That's what I want. I want to surround myself
All right,
with that. Yeah.
with people that fill your bunny.
Yeah, and that make me want to run through walls. Like I want to hang out with people that when I'm done with a conversation with them, I'm like, "Oh, I feel energized and not depleted." Like illuminators and diminishers, right? I just want people that are illuminating.
How about with someone that makes you want to like kick ass? Because I told you one of mine is in this life, I want to get in a good bar fight. Like, not at work where I'm trying to resolve it, but I want like smash the bottle and come on. Like
This
that.
one's fascinating to me, which honestly, I'm not going to a bar with you. I am not going to a bar with you because you know what's going to happen is I'm gonna have to pick up your lightweight. I'm gonna have to step in. I'm gonna have to roll up my sleeves, take my earrings out, and then I'm gonna have to fight. And
Get a scrunchie. Earrings out and get a scrunchie.
yeah, that's happening. That's happening. So I don't know that we made sense of goals or whatever. We're no James Clear here, but gosh, we're trying.
Hey, the thing is, if folks really are Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast listeners, want to hear kind of some of the stuff that we're doing, we sprinkle in some of the learnings that we have from Harvard Business Review, from James Clear, from the Clifton Strengths Finder, from all of those things. Really, the nudge, the urge is for you to spend some time, each of us to spend some time thinking, how do we want to strengthen how we show up in the world? And serve ourselves so we can be of greater service to others. And that's really the compelling need here and the
And I
conversation.
think that is the beautiful place to end the pod. Beautiful place.
Delight, you badass.
Yeah, you too. I want to hear about your goals. I will be checking in like the police officer that I am to make sure that you are in strict adherence. So you can
Yeah.
expect that from me. So as we move out, we want to thank our listeners and we want to let everyone know that the very handsome and intelligent Ted Madden produces this podcast. And the song that you are about to hear was written and performed exclusively by the aforementioned Jake Zeman and his friends Fabian and Zoe. If you like our podcast, please subscribe, please like it, please share it with your friends. And you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And if you don't like it, move along. Part of our goal is not to care if you don't like us. Is that true?
Skedaddle.
I
Real
care.
word.
I really care. I really
Skedaddle.
care. But if you don't like it, move along. There's nothing more to see here. So keep filling your own bunnies and please keep adding substance to others. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
When you look inside, what do you find? Are you content to fall behind? When you lose your way and you've lost your why? Have courage and get ready to fight the hollow bunny. When the way ahead is covered in smoke and you're tired and you're scared and you're losing hope, you'll open your heart and your eyes to see a challenge and a question. Why not me? To fight the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow fight instead. To change the world, you've got to start small. It takes a leader to say, I don't know it all. And I know I'm gonna fall, but I'll pick it up and come back stronger. Failing forward and moving onward, doing the hard thing and the right thing, forever fighting the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. If you're tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. You're tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. The monster